I'm Kaley McNeely. I am female, lesbian, I guess. Not really sure. I don't know, I think that love is love. I'm perfectly fine not knowing. I know that some people feel uncomfortable that I don't have a specific label that I think that perfectly fits me. But you know, that's their issue. Honestly, so when I was trying to decide who I was, you know, what I identified as, I just kind of spent some time and tried to figure out what I felt, what I thought. I tried to take out what other people would tell me, you know. You get a lot, well, I'm attracted to women, so I must be a lesbian, you know, and it's not that plain and simple. So I just say, take some time, figure it out for yourself. Don't listen to what people tell you it is. A lot of people think that in lesbian relationships, one should be masculine, one should be feminine. You know, my most recent relationship, we both had masculine qualities and feminine qualities, and depending on the day, you know, I might be the one that does things that most people would consider masculine, or she would. You know, as far as killing spiders, I don't want any part of it. But as far as, you know, fixing stuff around the house or working on the car, that's something that generally falls to me, but she enjoyed it too. So it's just, you know, you don't have to be masculine or feminine as a lesbian. You can just be you, whatever makes you are. So I decided to come out about halfway or beginning of 8th grade. It was an interesting time because I was kind of dating a boy, and I told him first. It's probably not the best way to go. So eventually the whole school found out, and they didn't handle it very well. I lost most of my friends. So I'd say that, you know, that was probably a difficult part of it, was just feeling isolated. But, I mean, on the bright side, my mom handled it pretty well. You know, other than asking me if I would ever marry a man and have children, she was pretty okay with it, you know. She didn't tell me that I should be any other way. She didn't send me to therapy for that or anything. It was just, you know, if that's how you feel, then I want you to be happy. You know, if anything, gay people need therapy to deal with the other people that have treated them poorly because of it. Not because they are gay and that's a problem. You know, I think that there's a certain amount of developing friendships and maintaining them after coming out that a lot of LGBTQ youth miss out on. You don't really get those stronger bonds that have pretty much lasted through childhood, because you can lose a lot of your friends. I mean, I also, you know, my relationship with my stepfather was strained, so I kind of lost a father figure. Really, it's a completely different social interaction when everybody's kind of concerned or confused about who you are now. You know, I didn't feel as comfortable going to school events. So, I mean, I kind of missed out on some of that. I didn't go to, you know, school dances. So it was a bit different. You know, I had my parole officer referred me to a therapist she was pretty active in the LGBTQ community, and she took me to, I think it was called Rainbow Alley, but I was scheduled to have 2 visits with her a week, and she would kind of go over some of that stuff with me, try to help me cope with the world that I was in. But, I mean, I didn't really reach out or talk to anybody for a really long time. I mean, I'm still not very active in the LGBTQ community. It's still kind of something that I struggle with, just because, you know, I did feel like it was wrong for a while. I don't think I was treated any differently. Actually, I had a pretty good experience in the system. My case manager, parole officer, he treated me well. Staff members treated me the same as anyone else unless I was acting out. So, I mean, my therapists, they were all very understanding. It was never the focus of any therapy or any you know, plan for when I got out. It was just, I was treated the same. I was lucky. Members of the LGBTQ community should be treated the same when they're in the system, because they're still humans, they're still struggling with other issues that, that got them there. I mean, if their identity is part of what caused problems, and I think, yeah, some of the therapy should be focused on that and helping them get past it and helping them learn to cope with people that aren't accepting of it, but otherwise they're human. They have the same struggles, the same fears, similar goals. I think we all have similar goals. Being a part of the community, growing. So I think that there's no reason for them to be treated any differently. I didn't particularly like the term gay for the stay, but I do know that it did apply to a few people that I knew in there, but it was harmful to just assume that everybody in there was gay for the stay, that nobody actually struggled with their gender identity, and to tell them basically, just to invalidate who they are. When I went to court, I'm not sure if my case was handled any differently or if the judge treated me any differently, because I'm not really sure how I was supposed to be treated or what they were supposed to do for me. In general, I think it's important to remember that these youth are in the system. They're there for a reason, but chances are they've had struggles, they've had trauma, they've had just difficulties coping with the world that they were born into. There are so many issues going on out there, and there are so many different situations that every kid goes through, that you need to remember that they are kids. They're still trying to learn, they're still making mistakes. They want to grow, they want to be better, they want to know that this world is something that they can turn it into what they want to, that they can have a good life. They can accomplish the things that they're afraid to even dream of doing. I had a lot of opportunities. I was pretty lucky. So I went to ROP, Betty Marler. I don't know if I should say that or not, but we had a technology class, and I got to learn Microsoft Office, the whole suite. I learned PowerPoint, Excel, Word, Access, Outlook. And that was actually a great skill for me to learn when I got out and going into, work. And I still use it today at my job, and I'm lucky to have gotten that. And then once I finished that, they gave me books, and I started learning web design, and I got to learn photography and Photoshop. So I had a lot of opportunities. It's just taking advantage of those opportunities. You've got to make the most of the time that you have in there. The difference between being lonely and when you want to be connected is having someone there that you can reach out to versus not having them. When you're lonely, it's just, you don't feel like there's anyone there that you can talk to, and waiting until you feel ready to get connected to other people, you have that opportunity to reach out. You have resources, you have connections, whereas being lonely, you don't. I had a great therapist. Actually, I had my general therapist and my drug and alcohol counselor. They were incredible. Actually, my drug and alcohol counselor used to tell me that it was her spousal equivalent, and she was heterosexual, but it was just the way that she kind of had a term that could be for any gender, any mix of genders in a relationship. There was just something about that I kind of held on to. But they were all, everyone I worked with was very warm and welcoming, and I felt safe, and I finally was able to get past a lot of the anger that I had towards the world for hating me. And, I realized that not everyone did, which was important for me. So as far as other LGBTQ, okay, there's still a lot of people out there that are struggling, that are having a hard time finding out who they are or accepting who they are, or making sure that they can surround themselves with people that accept who they are. So it's important that we get out there and we let them know that it is okay. It's our not really responsibility, but it's something that I think everybody in their heart wants to try and make everyone's life better as much as they can. So you have to be vocal. You have to help other people learn how to accept these individuals, these humans. I can get more involved. I should get more involved. I should be a better advocate. I know that I have gone through some experiences that other people are struggling with right now, and I want to help them. I want to make their lives better. I hope that someday they can accept who they are and be happy and, live in a world that accepts them. My family was somewhat involved in my treatment process, at least the first year of it. They're also very busy people. They don't manage their time very well. But it would have been nice if there was a little more effort. They came more to the visits to just kind of hang out with me than they did to the therapy sessions, where we could try and strengthen ourselves as a family. I think that the system should have some, and depending on the situation, some families are great and a kid's just struggling with other things, but I think it's important to have the family involved either way, really, just because parents are our first teachers. We need to know that we can trust them. We need to know that they're going to be there, that they're going to support us. And I think it's important to really just require that they be involved for certain steps and for a certain amount of times, just so that that youth has that connection still with their family, and that hopefully maybe rebuild the bond there so that they don't have authority issues down the road, because that's where a lot of them stem from. It's parents that you can't trust. Being an advocate means that you stand up for people that are having a hard time, that you're there to offer your support, that you speak out for those that aren't ready to use their own voices.